I am obsessed with the Idaho murders case. And there's something that doesn't make sense. Bryan Kohberger is charged with the murders, right? 4 people were slaughtered in this house with a knife. How is it that one person who has never, as far as we know, committed any kind of act of violence, how can they walk in a house with a knife, knowing that there are 6 people inside, and one by one, he kills 4 of them, knowing that there's still people left? I mean, you would think that people would hear screams, commotion, they'd come out, overtake him. So how does one person who's never done this before, it's his first rodeo, walks in with a knife?
You got a guy that is allegedly there 12 times, according to cell phone pings, in the months preceding. This kind of offender will mentally rehearse this dozens, if not hundreds of times in their mind. So this may be his first rodeo, it may not, we don't know yet. And he's got the element of surprise.
Well, there's a lot of evidence. The first 2 girls were most likely killed while they were asleep. The only person who I think had defensive wounds and might have been awake was Xana.
Was Ethan, her boyfriend, sleeping?
I think that Ethan was awake because he was in the doorway.
Right. He was awake. He is a much bigger guy than Bryan Kohberger and more athletic.
But also they had been out all night, they'd been drinking, they've been having a good time. Their house is known for people to be in and out, so he probably was like, yo, what are you doing here? And next thing you know, he's dead. And I really think that he did it almost like a thrill kill.
And he has a very long history too. If you look back at some of his training in high school, he's premeditated a lot of this fantasy that I think he's built up. He was kicked out of a training program with law enforcement because of
something weird with these two girls who made an accusation.
So he definitely seems to have an issue consistently with women.
Not only that, Kohberger, even months before the stabbings, he even broke into a female student's dorm just to move objects around, just to make her fear for her life.
But she wasn't there.
Right.
Okay, check this out. So this is the house. The number 1 is a bedroom where he killed the first 2 people. That's on the 3rd floor. Then he goes downstairs to number 2 and kills Ethan and his girlfriend in 2. In bedroom 3 and 4, on different floors, those are 2 people that survived. There's a bedroom in 6. He doesn't know if anybody's in 6. And by the way, there's a dog in 5. A dog can bite you. A dog can take you down. So he's walking in a place with 6 bedrooms. There are 6 people in 4 different bedrooms. There's a dog. There are 3 different levels. And you walk in with a knife?
But this is also a mass murder where you have multiple people killed in one location without any cooling off period. And most mass killers, that is their first event, their first and only event. I think he was just so grandiose and narcissistic that he felt he could just pull it off.
My theory, based on everything we know, is that he was potentially after Kaylee and Maddie. Kaylee's family says that he was following the 2 of them on social media, had liked some of their photos.
But also, when he was arrested, he requested a vegan diet. And both of those girls worked at a restaurant, like the number 1 vegan restaurant in the area. So it's very likely that he crossed paths with them. He maybe made an advance at them, or he crossed paths with them and said, oh, they're close, I like them both, now I have a target.
If you're gonna commit a heinous act like that, wait till she walks out of the house and she's alone in the driveway. If he was there as many times as everybody says, you kill one person.
If they're awake and she sees you approaching, she's gonna scream and somebody's going to hear it. But if you wait till she's asleep and you attack while she's asleep, then you don't get a big scream.
He also entered the house on the 2nd floor. He surpassed anyone on the 2nd floor, went straight up to the 3rd floor, which is where Kaylee and Maddie happened to be.
But then he had to go downstairs to kill the other 2.
The 2 girls might have been the intention,
Yes.
but the other 2 could have been collateral.
Well, okay, but wait a minute. If the other 2 were collateral, why is it that one of the 2 survivors actually walked out in the hallway and supposedly saw this guy, the guy with bushy eyebrows, and he didn't kill her?
I think that he didn't anticipate having to kill those 2 additional folks. And once when he did that, that's why he panicked, that's why he left the sheath, and he had to boogie out of there. And so when he saw that 5th person, he was like, I gotta just get out.
My dad owned a liquor store, and I worked in it. And I remember people used to come in all the time and steal stuff, candy or whatever. And I always thought that those people are the people that eventually rob banks. But they don't start robbing a bank, they start in my dad's liquor store. this guy started at the bank.
Quite a few serial killers actually start as burglars. They start as burglars, and part of the thrill is violating that private space, and they'll go in at night and just watch the victim and then leave. I mean, I've had cases like that, and they don't do anything, and they do that for a while, and then that's no longer thrilling, and then they escalate where they might take a pair of panties, some kind of trophy, and then that's the thrill. And then it might go into rape or killing.
Well, he made a lot of mistakes, which I think that points to potentially, again, going back to the theory that he was following these two other girls, Kaylee and Maddie, on social media. That's who he was after. Potentially he got no love from them. He felt rejected. So maybe the reason he made so many mistakes is he went in there with like blind rage.
See, the weird thing is, if you're right about blind rage, that doesn't align with stalking. Stalking is more intentional.
It shows purposefulness, that this was targeted. There was all this confusion at first. Was this some random act? This was not some random act.
I think he's a budding serial killer. This was his first kill. He's been planning it for a long time. This is his, but he's a sociopath, and so I think he is a budding, had he not gotten caught, he is a budding serial killer. In addition to which, the sloppiness with the cell phone, a real pro would have left the phone at home on, which would have then shown that, yeah, I'm at home, and had driven there. This whole turning it off and on right before is so stupid, it's unbelievable.
I actually feel like he wanted to get caught. If he was like a looked over incel his entire life, that could also explain why he had two other collateral casualties. I think he wanted to get caught. Because look at the attention he's got.
I got to disagree. When I've asked actual serial killers, did you want to get caught? They said, no, I just got sloppy. You can't think about everything, and that's the problem. These guys, they think they're so smart. They're going to prove how powerful they are, not just in what they do, but also in getting away with it, and they're never as good as they think they are.